So guys, it's the top of the hour. Let's get into this. So this is how to get a 2000% return on investment selling online. And guys, I know that sounds like, whoa, that's ridiculous, but it is very possible. Greg does it all the time. He has, things he sells and gets 200% return. And he has things he sells and gets 1,000 and 2,000 and beyond. We did this webinar. This is different, but we did one a few months ago, and he showed an example of one that was like 2,137% return exactly. So this is very, very possible. He does this every single day, all day long. And this is what we're going to hear for him to show you how he does it and how you guys can do it too in your business. So Greg, thank you for doing this. Thanks for partnering with me on this, and I'll let you go, man.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get with it. I'm going to show you how to get a 2,000% return. And Ryan and I have a group called Treasure Hunting Profits. And this is where we have other people that get a 2,000% return, actually more than 2,000 on the average. But if we said much more, it would sound too high.
Really ridiculous, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, especially if you've resold for a while and you're, doing reselling, retail arbitrage, things like that. But we really, the people in Treasure Hunting Profits really prefer a much larger return than we can get with retail arbitrage generally. So I'm going to take a slightly different approach tonight from what maybe even Ryan thought that I might do. And I can always change track, Ryan, if you need me to.
No, you're good.
I want to discuss where we've been and where we're going. A few months ago, 4 or 5, I don't know, time flies. As bad as 2020's been, it's really been flying for me. Ryan and I kind of set out on an experiment. And that experiment was to train resellers to approach things far differently from the usual way that a lot of resellers and that we approach reselling. We wanted to show people how to buy items extremely inexpensively and resell them successfully for sky-high returns. And this is not wholesale. As a matter of fact, wholesale has a lot of problems. I mean, wholesale can be super. I mean, that's true with every single model that you learn. It's got its good. And if there were one way to do everything, then that's all we would do. But this isn't wholesale. It's not even close. Wholesale can be tanked. Prices can tank real easily. And the returns are not 2,000% return. Generally, if you find something like that, jump on it and trademark it and do everything you can. But we do things far differently here. And what we wanted to show with our experiment was that we wanted to show people how to buy things like this. And we did not want our members to invest a bunch of capital. I mean, a lot of people don't even have a bunch of capital to invest, especially right now. And so we had to do 2 things in this group, or for the people that we're talking to with this model. Number one, we had to show people where and how to find items that cost pennies on not the dollar, cost pennies on the $5 and $10. And then we had to teach them and you how to sell those items so that they get more money for each item and that their items sell faster than other people trying to sell against them. Hitting those competitors are really critical for us, and pretty much knocking everyone else out of the game is critical. Not through anything like gating them or anything like that. Nothing like we hate done to us. Just pure supply and demand and competition. We want to outdo all others. And I want to describe where we all are right now, 4 or 5 months later. And you must admit, 4 to 5 months is not a long time. So before we get into the nitty gritty though, I want to say from a bird's eye perspective, this group I'm talking about, Treasure Hunting Profits, that's pretty much what I'll be describing, but you can do this on your own if you want to. That's okay. We're going to give you some bolos tonight. I'm going to give you 5. Be on the lookouts that if you find just these 5 items a lot, and you'll find them a lot if you look, you'll make these returns easily all the time. So, I mean, I would want more than 5, and you can have more than 5, but those 5 are going to keep you in some money for a while. So before we get in, I want to get to a bird's eye perspective of what we're talking about. I want to give you want to give you the overall answer right now, how to do this. And at first it might seem obvious, and I have a feeling some of you, and I would have been the same way, some of you might think, that's not really for me. Just hang with us a little bit longer if it's not. So again, we're extremely different when it comes to the details, but remember the goal that we had was to teach people how to source so their purchase price enabled them to generate giant returns. And in our group, we don't use the term ROI. You might have heard return on investment percentage before, as most groups do. Most groups use ROI, and we don't like typical reselling ROI percentages of 33 to 100% or even 150% or whatever that people often make on the average every day. And I know many resellers find items once in a while, retail arbitrage, items that are even replens that are just huge ROIs for sell them on Amazon, eBay, merchant fulfilled elsewhere. I'm aware people bang down 2,000% returns, but in general, the problem is it's far more common to bang down 33% and 100% or so return. And in our group, once in a blue moon, as Ryan said, our members might resell an item and make 100% return. We're pretty disappointed. So we consider that a failure in this group. So we don't want to spend $1,000 to make $1,000. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. We certainly don't want to spend $3,000 to make $1,000. We just don't want the returns that a lot of resellers do great on. We just don't want that. We demand not ROIs, but GROI, and that's what we call it, giant returns on investment. And the name of this meeting tonight mentions a 2,000% return on investment. And again, I'd say that number is a good one for our group, but I think a lot of us are making more. So the bird's eye view is I have to teach you, number one, where and what to source. So I have to show you where to source, and I have to tell you what to look for. And that's half the course. That's half of what we do in our group in Treasure Hunting Profits. That's half of your job. If you want to do this on your own, you've got to know where to go and what to look for. And well, to be accurate, that's only about 10% of what we do in Treasure Hunting Profits, this group that I'm talking about, because finding our 2,000% returns, GROI, giant return, is actually pretty simple for us. And we pretty much focus on the next item. But in telling you what to look for and where to go, we teach groups of products or categories of products. I don't want you scanning barcodes. I don't want you doing stuff like that all the time. You don't have time for that. No one has time for that unless that's your sole business model or you've got employees doing that for you. That's great. That model works great. That's not for this group. We want to look for products that are rarely and usually never looked for by other resellers. We don't want it. And our primary source for our items, and this is where I think I'm going to lose some of you, but hang on. And again, 3 or 4 years ago, I might have dropped right now. Okay. Our primary source for these items are threefold: garage sales or yard sales. I'll say garage sales. If you're in the UK, it'll be boot sales. Garage sales, thrift stores, and estate sales. Okay. A few years ago, I was one who didn't want to just mess with other people's junk. I didn't want to learn about it. It was a whole thing I didn't know anything about. I didn't want to know, yeah, I can make some money. Yeah, it's low investment, but you've got to learn all this stuff. And I loved the idea of retail arbitrage. I loved it. And I just thought, oh man, my phone app tells me everything. I don't have to know what sells. All I have to do is ask my phone app if it's any good. I don't have to learn that a DVD player is worth money. I don't have to know anything. I just check my phone. And I liked the fact that I could do all this and not really know a lot about what I'm sourcing and make 33 cents on the dollar, 33% return. If I spent 5, then the income I'd try to sell it for about 15. I mean, that's what we do in Amazon primarily and retail arbitrage. That's kind of we want more than that. But that's kind of a return we like, but sometimes we make less, 33% to 100 or more. I think that the people that we've been teaching this to, I think 100% of them today will tell you that they really feared more than anything having to learn all this stuff about what in the world do I do at a garage sale? It's not for me. It's not what I want to do. And I think 100% of them today, 4 or 5 months later, would tell you their biggest regret is that Ryan and I did not start this sooner, teaching people how to do this. I mean, it's an incredible model, business model. And it doesn't have to be your only one. Many of our people do retail arbitrage, replens with Jimmy Smith, the whole gambit. So to source giant returns of 2,000% and up, the second requirement is we need to train people on how to sell what they source. So, I mean, the primary place that we go to is eBay. The secondary sources we teach are Facebook Marketplace, Mercari, and some Amazon merchant fulfilling. We teach that, but very little of that. Mostly eBay, and then Facebook Marketplace, and then Mercari, but mostly eBay. And we also spend some time, actually 1 week in our group, we actually taught people, some interested members, not everyone is interested, how to buy and sell guns and bullets on auction websites as legally and as easily as they buy and sell drums and buckets on eBay. I mean, there's no problem. It's so easy to do that. No legal hassle, nothing. It's so easy. So, and it's perfectly legal. And illegal people can't buy from you. I mean, you always hear, you know, the loopholes and all that. There are no loopholes. People can't do it if they're not allowed to buy from you, if they're not legally allowed. So it works just fine. Our members, a lot of them didn't know eBay. Our members now master eBay. Now I'll talk more about their mastering, the people that we show this to, in a moment. First of all, I don't know. I have to tell you, no, this is just so critical. I need to tell you, our members are getting trained, and this is not going to sound humble. Our members are getting trained in, the friends that we are talking about this to, in the most advanced eBay training that has ever been attempted in the 25 years that eBay has been around. This is eBay's 25th year. And simply put, there is no training elsewhere, not on any website. There never has been, not in any Facebook group, certainly not in any Facebook group, not in any downloadable course, not in any book, not on any of eBay's own training pages. There is no training anywhere on earth as advanced as ours, as systematic as ours, and that produced the powerful waves of sellers that these people are becoming, one by one, including some who never sold on eBay or even had an account. They're now becoming top-rated sellers in just 5 months or so, and that's the highest rating any eBayer can. If you had a warehouse and sold $1 million a week on eBay, you couldn't go higher than top-rated seller. You would be a top-rated seller. We have people who just started with us on eBay 5 months ago, and they're top-rated sellers already. It's astounding what they're doing. Our own Jimmy Smith, the replens king, he told me in the second month that he was doing this with us. I mean, he wasn't helping, he was learning all we were showing him. And the second month, he and Brittany were in our group. Jimmy, I mean, the king of everything, he told me that they sold more on eBay in those 2 months than they had sold in all the years they'd ever sold on eBay leading up to those 2 months. Wow. I mean, that to me meant everything. I'll discuss the training that we do here in a minute, but in addition to becoming eBay masters of the universe, our members can now walk into any estate sale, garage sale, thrift store, and walk past all the other resellers buying the same old things they've always bought. Our members head straight to items that nobody knows to buy, straight to them. Our members in Treasure Hunting Profits will tell you, we do not want competition. We don't want competition. As a matter of fact, we are the competition. Our members will tell you, we do not fear price tanking ever. We never fear price tanking. Due to the nature of this model that I'm going to tell you about, we only get rising prices with maybe an exceptional blip once in a while, because things do eventually go in and out of favor, even the treasures that we seek. And I'm going to tell you about those in a minute, about why prices sometimes go in waves, but we never face tanking prices ever. And most of the time we face rising prices. But even that has none of the tanking, none of the tanking dangers. Here's an example of something that can drop on us in price. 20 to 30 years, really 20 to 25 to 30 years is the sweet spot for selling what we sell, because 20-year-old toys, 25-year-old clothing, games, things like that are hot, and they are always hot. So every year we kind of see a drop off 20, 25 years ago, and an addition for the new 25 years ago, because people who were children and teens back then and who were big fans of things are now adults, and they've got children and teens, and they're kind of reliving their own past. They now have money to buy what they wanted 25 years ago, and they want to teach their own kids about some of this stuff. So speaking of that, I'm going to give you a bolo, our first bolo of the night. Be on the lookout for. This is what you want to be on the lookout for if you want to make huge returns, and that is neon. Neon is where it's at. Clothing and other items, backpacks. Our group, all of our resellers and treasure hunters know that if they see Nike running shoes and they're neon and they've got some good treads on them at a decent price, they'll buy them. They'll just buy them. Color blocked shirts. Color blocks are like, you've got these bold colors next to each other, a bold red and a bold, purple next to each other. If they see colored block, if they see color blocked, off the shoulder tops of a lady, even our men, they'll source those. If they see neon orange and purple color block t-shirts that would make Billie Eilish neon green with envy, then our members will source it. So, wow, I can't believe Ryan might know who Billie Eilish is.
Well, I know, yeah.
Most people
I probably should. I don't listen to any of her music, of course, but
yeah. Well, I don't either, but I do like one part of her music, in that her whole song stop several times and she goes, duh. And I like that. It's the only thing I like about her. And she likes neon stuff. But anyway, as our member, if I said, we don't deal in tanking prices. We're too busy making too much money on hardly any investment. So instead of tanking prices, we only experience rising prices, but we will see waves of prices going down and others going up as this shift occurs over the years, if that makes sense. So as older things start being phased out, they're 26 to 30 years old, they're going to drop in demand. It's just natural. And then the new 25-year-old items will start coming in demand. This is not price tanking. Whenever that happens, it's like a bunch of sellers jumping on an item and tanking the price in a week or faster. This is the kind of price drop that's slow, steady decline as things go out of favor, and giving our members a year or two or three to sell the item. So let me toss this out to our audience who resell. If you all resell in other ways, would you mind tanking prices if they took 2 to 3 years to tank on you before you couldn't sell them any longer at a profit? I mean, if you had 2 or 3 years to sell them before they tanked, I think you could get those sold instead of 2 or 3 days of your inventory tanking. But so you could get out of a few neon pink tank tops that you bought last month in 3 years. You could get out of that. So it's glacier-like movement down if our group sees if our model of selling sees any price drops. Yeah, our members, this model does not want competition. This model is the competition. This model doesn't fear tanking prices, and our members, or the people that learn this model and they're part of this, almost always get nothing but rising prices, as with most things. So let's go to, so be on the lookout for neon. It's still really hot. Tote bags, anything. Neon's pretty hot. Nickelodeon, brought this to us. Nickelodeon's making us money today because everything was neon back in Nickelodeon days of, 2000, 1998, around there. So that's helping some of our resellers who are smart enough to know to look for this stuff. Okay, categories of items to resell. Now notice I didn't tell you which Nike shoes to buy that were neon. I gave you a category, and not all neon Nike shoes are going to bring as much as others. Some are certainly better than others, but neon Nike running shoes, for example, in general, right now are hot. So it doesn't really matter. As long as the price is low and our members don't like to pay more than $20 for anything except, some of those old Pioneer receivers from the 80s when stereos were stereos and things like that. They'll pay a little more for because they bring a lot of money, but they might pay $100 for something like that. But you'll just learn if you follow this model. If you start looking for neon stuff, you see a pair of Nike running shoes that are with a good tread, good soles, and still in good shape, good laces. You might pay $8 to $20 for a pair of that. You can look them up and see if they're worth selling, but they're also just worth buying. Just buy them. You're going to sell them at a profit. Someone's going to want them. Right now, that is a category, neon types of clothing in good condition that kind of looks retro. That's just a type of category. It always helps to check comps, or what we call comparables. It always helps to look on your phone and see what others like that have sold for recently. But at the same time, if you're not paying too much, most of our people don't spend the time to check every single item. They just don't have to. Again, according to this slide here, we teach categories of items to resell. Our members are in and out fast. They don't do a bunch of scanning and things like that. They will look things up in a store, but a lot of times they will go and buy groups of things, just go around the store, and they never hit all the places all the other resellers are at. And they're grabbing up all this stuff. And then they might spend an hour learning a new category, something like that. That's another part of this model. You need to learn how to find your own item, your own types of items that you prefer. And they might then spend more time on individual items. But in general, categories of items mean in and out, get home, get them listed, and then go eat at Chipotle and have Krispy Kreme for dessert. I mean, that's more important than this stuff. So this brings us to BOLO number 2, name brand electronics. Okay. Even better than 20 years ago are the 40-year-old ones, when stereo equipment had, knobs and lights and buttons and dials, and they were huge, and they were mammoth beasts. They were so cool. They were so cool, these big Pioneer things.
Greg, you posted I won't say exactly what it was, I don't even remember, but it was a receiver in our group recently. My parents were visiting here. You're showing it. Okay, perfect. My dad had either that exact one or one very, very similar to it, because I remember pushing all those buttons on there.
Yeah.
And I showed it to him, and he about just fell over in his chair when he saw how much it was going for, because we had one of those.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wish you still had it. I wish it were still up in your attic. But there's one thing about this. So will someone who learns this model, will one of you listening today pay more than $20 for one? Would you pay $100 for one of these? Well, yeah, you'd pay $200 for one of these. But there's something about this that I don't know that you've noted. Now, this one actually sold on eBay. This is a sold item, and they did something that we teach people don't do. They put it out for auction. So 7 days went by and they got one bid. Our people who learn this model, I'm telling you right now, don't do that. Buy it now. We would definitely get $999 for this thing. We wouldn't even hesitate. And we would still have the gall to charge them $85 for shipping. But there's something else about this receiver. Look closely. It is for parts. It doesn't even work.
Wow.
We don't know what's wrong. And I guarantee you, this person did not offer a pay money back guarantee if it doesn't work. There's no way you'd do that if you're selling something as is. So for parts not working, something, who knows what's wrong? Maybe it doesn't power up. Maybe it's some little tiny thing. Whatever it is, someone paid $750 plus They had the gall to charge them $85 to ship this thing. There's no way that cost $85 to ship. I don't care. This thing might be 30 pounds, but it's going to ship for $30, $32, something like that, probably. But so this is a profit item according to this seller.
Do you have any idea why those are so valuable to people? Is it nostalgic, or is there parts in there that are actually worth that?
Okay, I'm going to give you a flippant answer first. My flippant answer for why did this broken receiver sell for $749 is,
I don't care.
I don't know, and I don't care.
Exactly.
But I really don't know. I truly don't know. But someone might be missing the knobs, and they want a perfect receiver. And this dial mechanism often goes. It's often something that doesn't last. I don't know if the belt wears down or something. But if one of these is in good shape, then they have a very important aspect of that receiver. And there might be a tube or something if this had some tubes out, but at least they can salvage this part. So I think it's not just nostalgia. I think people really love these, and they did sound great. I mean, it just sounds
incredible.
And they're so fun to just push buttons and so slick. So, and this was real wood, they might have gone to fake side veneers, but I think most of this was real wood back then in 83, 82. So, man, be on the lookout for this stuff. If you can test it, great. If you can't test it, you have to sell it for not working. You have to be able to test it. People don't even have speakers anymore that we can plug into these things, or, it's hard to test these. So that's part of this high price is you need to know. I mean, and if this thing were working, I mean, you'd charge $14.99 or consider going higher and then drop if it doesn't sell in a week or two. But you do have some testing challenges with this old equipment, and just keep that in mind, or take a drop in price and just sell it as is. Either way, it's a deal. It's a deal. So this is what in our group, we often look at people's listings, other sellers, and it's kind of fun, and you'll think it's wrong, and it is, but we kind of make fun of most other sellers. And we go through all these listings and just talk about what's wrong. Our sellers could tell you exactly what's wrong with this picture. There's a lot of problems with this picture, believe it or not. I won't go into it too much here, but number one, it's against eBay's rules. You cannot put something in the initial picture that you're not selling. So if they don't sell this turntable with this receiver, the buyer can legally get their money back. That'd be a pretty chintzy buyer who did that, but you could. So it's really not following eBay's rules. And when you don't follow eBay's rules, this person does not have a white background on this photograph. And that is bad. When you don't follow eBay's rules, you don't make as much money, because eBay does not give you as much search engine love. They don't boost you up into the search engine as high. And so we were looking through this one, I'm sure, and looking at all of the mistakes that this guy made, and didn't have a good title or anything. Although the brand and the model number right here, those are the most important two keywords. So it's good that he put these, but we would put other things in this title. So maybe the year, maybe just different things about it. But how many amps? I mean, or how many watts per channel? That was pretty critical for receivers back in the 80s. So anyway, this had a lot of problems. This is what we're up against. We're up against a bunch of amateurs making a whole lot of money on eBay. And so I feel bad for you if you compete against some of our people who learn this model, or if people compete against you after tonight and learning some of these things. And if you implement them, like actually putting a white background in your first picture, if you actually do that, you're going to sell better than someone competing against you with the identical item. I feel bad for anyone who competes against people who learn how to make eBay work for them. And so what was the result? I mean, you're kind of getting an idea. The result of Ryan and my experiment of creating a bunch of people that routinely experienced 2,000% returns on each and every item they buy on the average. Here are the results. after 5 months, I'll just say 5. I think it's been a little bit less, but we created an army of resellers. And can I just say, I wanted Ryan to keep this, again, webinar's name at 2,000, because if we kind of averaged what some people were making, it would just sound phony. But I suspect all of you here think that it sounds hypey. It sounds like it's a bunch of hype. If so, let me put more hype upon you here. Okay, I'm going to put heaps of hype upon you tonight. Okay, our members' number one problem, people who are with us and in this model, their number one problem are death piles. Only we don't call them death piles. Death piles, which is what we call money piles. And if any of you know what a death pile or money pile is, that's a bunch of stuff sitting in the corner that you haven't got listed yet. It's money, it's sitting there, but it's more fun to go out and find more stuff than to sit home and list all this stuff. And it's just the way it works. If you've listened to our buddy Jeffrey Clark, you've been impressed, but he's got death piles, and he talks about death piles. Every reseller has death piles, unless you just do strict RA type of reselling and replens, and then you usually don't have death piles for long, because you can't afford to keep, you can't afford to make 100% return and just have money sitting in the corner. The way we buy things, it's almost like it didn't cost anything. So, but we need to get our death piles listed. But our number one problem is most people's desire, right? Having too much to list all the time. And it's my guess that 100% of people that are with us who are working in the group that I'm telling you about, and I say working because a few are watching and learning. A few of them just haven't quite started yet systematically creating or working their accounts on eBay and becoming powerful sellers. But the ones that have, I would say 100% of our members who really work our group's systematic plan, which most of them do, and they plan to dominate eBay. And it's so cool in 2020, in spite of the fact eBay is 25 years old, you can dominate eBay. You can, against people who are trying to sell against you. You can't dominate Amazon, not for long. You can't dominate platforms. You can eBay, and we do, and we show you exactly how to do that. There's no secret here. It shows you exactly how to do it. Anyway, I harp on these people all the time about their death piles. Get it listed. It's just sitting there. It's money. It's a money pile. It's not a death pile. Get it listed. But this week, we changed gears, and you should too. As we go into winter, there are going to be fewer garage sales and yard sales and boot sales, and just people aren't going to be selling. People aren't going to be taking things to the thrift stores as often. And so it's going to be harder as winter gets deader in much of the country and much of the world. It's going to be harder to find things to source for a few months. So this would be a good time to ignore your death piles. This is just a tip for any of you who sell like this, and maybe source quite a bit over the next month or two. Now, if you're really working Q4 hard, we call Q4 Q5 in our group, because because April, May, June, sales were so good, so incredibly good on eBay and merchant fulfilling Amazon. They were so, it was better than Q4. It was incredible and still pretty good. And so we call this coming Q4, we call it Q5. So if you're working Q5 a lot this year, then you won't have time to source a bunch of these types of items, but our people are out there sourcing and not worrying as much about getting their death pile listed because of the winter weather coming up. And that's just a tip you should keep in mind. Our problems are other people's desire. Our problem is it's not sexy like retail arbitrage and replens. It's just not sexy. You don't have all these nice little labels that you're slapping on things and throwing things in polybag and shipping everything to Amazon, and it's just not sexy. You're cleaning the front of that Pioneer receiver because it's got a little smudge, and you got to clean that off. I mean, if you want an extra $50, you're going to clean it off. We show you how to do all that. I show you exactly what to buy to clean exactly what. If you have a pair of tennis shoes, I show you exactly how to clean those tennis shoes and what to buy. If you have anything, we show you exactly how to do it. So that's no big deal, and don't worry about that sort of stuff. Again, on our our problems continue. A secondary problem for our members is growing their inventory numbers. This is my big problem. I've got several eBay accounts. Unlike Amazon, eBay says, oh, you want 3 accounts? Okay, no problem. We're not going to shut you down if you want 4 accounts for whatever reason. It's virtually impossible once you start mastering eBay. It's virtually impossible to grow your inventory because you'll list like 10 items today, and then tonight 10 items will sell, or 12. And tomorrow you'll list 12 and 14 will sell. It's pretty hard to grow an inventory. That's a good problem, but it would be nice if we could grow an inventory at the same time. We're making so much money, who cares? But it's just one of those little minor little things that come up. Treasure hunting profits is nothing more than an army of resellers. I said it before, dominating eBay. I've said it before, on each and every item they sell. Here's a little insider thing that might sound strange if you've been in a lot of other reselling groups. Basically, all of the content in Treasure Hunting Profits, the foundational classes that we offer that are there forever, every one of these are recorded and they're in the group. Countless mini courses, the dozens and dozens of absolute beginner video training courses, the growing list of half webinars that we offer on very deep dive on a specific topic. This giant repository of content in 4 or 5 months, giant, has been created and continues to be created by one person. Now, again, look at what this slide says. An army of resellers already dominating eBay on each and every item they sell. In addition, the members of Treasure Hunting Profits, at least, and I'll answer any questions from any of you. Just tell me you saw this webinar and I'll see if I can help you. In addition, our members experience in this group answers to their questions most of the time in under an hour. Most of the time. I'd say some of the time in under 2 hours. They've got a problem, and basically always get their questions answered in 12 hours or less. And often, if they have some problem that they needed help with, they get a video explaining exactly how to fix or correct or help whatever they're having a problem with. And so they get past their problems step by step and successfully. So another little surprising insider tip that might sound strange. If you've been in a lot of other reselling groups, basically every single question has been answered by one and only one person. Now, don't let that frighten you, but no one really knew this going into this 5 months ago. And I think it's strange whenever people join the group new and they start kind of seeing this. So I want you to be aware of it. And yet most questions answered in under an hour, sometimes immediately, the vast majority within 2, and almost all within 12, often with videos answering them. So it's just one person handling that customer service. And I want to point out again the last paragraph of the next slide. Oh, I wasn't on the right slide. Content and training for Treasure Hunting Profits is quite astounding. The average hours of training on our group that members get each week far surpasses almost every reselling group on Facebook. Okay, that includes ones with far more moderators and content providers, like far more. This includes the Q4 groups. On the average, every week, our members get more content than virtually any Facebook group in existence on reselling. So that's just something to keep in mind, that this is a pretty good little set of training that people are getting. Treasure Hunting Profits literally get more value for each penny they spend in the group, if they spend any. So we know this because they tell us this. We know this because they post this. Our members are becoming the most knowledgeable eBay sellers on the planet. And I've still got 4 bolos to give you, but you've got to listen to some of my bragging of my members before I do that. I know that there's a typo. I'm personally constantly having to answer this common question. Why didn't, and by the way, this is all kind of messed up. It's not the right font, but yeah, I think it'll work. Why didn't anybody ever teach us that? Each and every member of our group, they're like, these questions, they're asking me that. Why have we never in our lives been taught this about these concepts? Why didn't we ever know these tactics were possible? Why don't other reselling groups, garage sale, thrift store groups, retail arbitrage groups show us these things? I mean, these are advanced topics that we make easy to implement. Why have I been selling on eBay for more than a decade and nobody once told me that I could do what you just showed me how to do? That dramatically boosts my sales, like how to properly put videos in your listings. eBay doesn't like it when it's done the wrong way. eBay loves it when it's done the right way. So, Ryan, did I just mess up the screen by moving it, or is it okay?
No, it's okay.
Okay. If you have items to sell but can't sell them, you've wasted your money. The places to sell the items that our members source on are eBay, Mercari, Facebook Marketplace, and even Amazon. But eBay is by far the one that our members make the most money on. And we're seeing an unexpected phenomenon with our members. And many of them sold on Amazon and still sell on Amazon before they came into our group as well. And what we're finding is many of our members are doing less and less FBA and more eBay. I'm not telling them to do that. They're just finding the risk to be so much more tolerable. And honestly, they sleep better at night when their accounts are not just constantly at risk. And we kind of mock eBay in our group. I mean, Amazon. Kind of mock them because they're the king, right? And so they can stand a little bit of mocking. We're the David to that Goliath in eBay. And eBay has not gotten its due. It has not. And so there aren't a bunch of insurance agents out there selling insurance on what happens when you lose your eBay account. They don't exist. Or if one does, boy, I don't see how they could ever sell a policy. You don't have all of these organizations that exist that you can pay to get an item reinstated or to get your money out of eBay whenever eBay says you can't sell an item. We don't have people not sleeping at night because they have 3 days to convince eBay not to close their account. Nothing like that happens. And it's because eBay works for eBay sellers. eBay sellers work for buyers. eBay has made that clear. Their former CEO went public in a national recording that we posted in our group that the CEO said, "We work for the buyers." On eBay, on Amazon, buyers work for Amazon. I mean, you do. Amazon's your boss, not your buyer. You want to make your buyers happy. You want to make Amazon happy, but it's hard to make them happy, right? I mean, they're hard to make happy. eBay just loves its sellers. So we're finding an exit out of Amazon over to eBay, a shift, I should say, not a full exit, but a lot of people are doing less FBA, more merchant fulfilled because you have more control, and we show you how to merchant fulfill everything. And we're seeing people are liking the eBay model so much more, but there are problems, and I realize there are problems that you know about with eBay, and here's one. We don't ignore Amazon, it just seems like it. Just this week, many of you know that to sell toys on Amazon on Amazon merchant fulfilled in the fourth quarter, you have to jump through all these hoops every year. You've got to sell 25 items before October 1st, merchant fulfilled. You've got to find them. You've got to merchant fulfill them. You've got to do this even if you've sold 25 items merchant fulfilled last July. You've got to do it, I think, between August 15th and October 15th, and you've got to make sure that you sell 25, and if you don't, they won't allow you to sell toys. Toys are important to sell merchant fulfilled in Q4 on Amazon because a lot of times you'll see a quick deal and you just want to flip it real fast, and you just take a photo of it, or you just jump on a listing where it exists, but it's running out of inventory, and you merchant fulfill it. You don't have time to FBA some of these toy sales that happen in late November. You don't have time. You don't want to. That's not where the money is. You need to know how to merchant fulfill. This week, we showed members how to get their 25 merchant fulfilled items sold in a couple of hours to at most a couple of days. So if you've been trying to get this done and hoping that you're going to get 25 sales merchant fulfilled before the deadline, we showed you how to do it really in 2 hours. One of our members posted the next day and she said, I did it in 3.5 hours. I'm now approved for Merchant Fulfilled because I sold my 25 items thanks to this group. So we don't ignore Amazon. We just like to kind of make fun of Amazon, okay? To make $1,000, our members might expect to invest 50 to 100. To make 1,000 on Amazon using RA or replens, which both are extremely successful, the investment typically runs from $2,000 to $4,000. If you've got this investment, especially Jimmy's replens and some of the RA strategies, powerful strategies that you can leverage and grow, but it takes a lot of money to grow them big. I mean, it does. It takes inventory. And again, our members sleep like babies at night because they're not worried about their eBay accounts all the time. So there's a difference that you need to know about. If you're just hating on eBay, I understand, but there's a big difference and there are some things you need to know about. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it. We don't have time to do it. eBay versus Amazon, number 3. eBay takes so much more time to list. Not our members. We show you how to list fast, real fast. But on eBay, you've got to write long descriptions. No, you don't. That is wrong. That's wrong. In 2005, you did. In 2020, eBay doesn't want long descriptions on anything. You don't ever do that anymore. As a matter of fact, eBay doesn't even show your description to most buyers unless they click a link in order to open up your listing and see a description. eBay doesn't even like to show descriptions. But on eBay, you have to take photos of everything you sell. Oh, really, Karen? Well, you do. You should, but you don't have to. There are legal ways that eBay has approved to steal photos from other eBay listings. And once you hear what that is, you'll be fine with it. It's not like you're really doing anybody. I mean, you're not doing anybody wrong. And you'll see, oh, I see. Yeah, that's okay. I can see why that's fine to do that. So you don't have to take photos of everything you sell. That's wrong. But on eBay, you have to ship every item you sell. Yeah, you do. You do. So Merchant Fulfilled as well. But we learned back in April, a lot of FBA sellers that were forced to go Merchant Fulfilled found that if they had employees, they had big FBA business, and they didn't know what they were going to do, but they knew they had to Merchant Fulfill, they realized teaching helpers how to ship and fulfill Merchant Fulfill orders is actually far simpler than teaching workers how to do FBA fulfillment. Far easier, far faster training. They were getting boxes out the door far faster. So there are big advantages to this type of model where you sell one, ship one. There are big advantages. And eBay takes so much more time to list, we learn, no, it doesn't. But on eBay, you have to, oh, wait, this is the same one. Okay, I'm messing up, I'm sorry, but I'm so excited about this. I just have so much to tell you in such a little time. We show you how to ship fast. We show you how to wrap things. There are big groups on the internet, not just on Facebook, telling you how to buy LP records, and they don't tell you how to ship them safely. I just am astounded that they don't tell you how to ship an LP record without messing it up. And believe me, there is a special way to ship an LP record. You have a $500 LP record of Frank Sinatra's first album or something, you better make sure that that arrives in the same condition that you describe it in. We show you how to ship everything. We show you how to ship everything. Records, anything heavy, big. Our members don't fear big items. Our members often, that Pioneer, that's nothing. We've got a guy, Matt, he sells vacuum cleaners, and he's not afraid to ship vacuum cleaners. A lot of people are, and we have a big secret in our group, and I'm going to go ahead and reveal it now. This is how you ship big, giant items, okay? You might want to take notes. You buy a big box, and you put some packing around the item, and then you tape it closed, and you ship it. Okay, I think I got everything in. I was afraid I was going to miss a step. So you get a big box, you put stuff around it, and then you ship it. You tape it up, put a mailing label on it, and you ship it. That's how you ship big items. It's no big deal. Don't be afraid of it because your competitors are afraid of it. And that's great. Our people love people being afraid of shipping big items. Bolo number 3, go where no resellers go. When you walk into a thrift store, don't go to the Ferragamo whatever. I don't know anything about ladies' clothing except the very few things I source. But Ferragamo shoes, I think. So don't go where all the other resellers go. Go to this type of aisle where you see a bunch of blankets and look for the San Marco blankets. You'll find them. You'll often find San Marco blankets, and you get some kind of little neat design. They've got some real boring. I'm not saying that this is a San Marco blanket here on the left, but they've got some boring designs, but you get anything that's sort of cool. And there's not going to be any reseller on this aisle of blankets. No one goes through these things. You find something like a San Marco or several other brands, but this is just your bolo. Find these blankets. You're going to make a lot of money, because the thrift stores can't sell blankets for much money. They sell them $5-10 at most. You're going to sell them for $80-100. This lion probably go for $150 if it's San Marco. I know it's a San Marco. And how do you ship a blanket? Well, you can roll it up and put it in a priority tube, or fold it up and put it in a box and ship it. Probably rolling it is better because you don't get creases, but no one really cares if a blanket's folded. It's not a big deal. So this is bolo number 3. No one looks at blankets in a thrift store. No one resells them. That's pretty cool. Okay. I'm just looking over because I kind of got thrown off there. A lot of people hear, well, here's how you make money on eBay. You go to thrift stores and garage sales and buy VCRs and you sell them for like a lot of money. Well, yeah, and our members do that, but our members don't love that, because thrift stores are kind of getting savvy about so many things like that. Thrift stores are charging $25, $30, $35 for VCR, DVD combos that will sell for $50 to $80. And if you want to spend that much to make that much, great. That's okay. That's 100% return or 200% return maybe, but then you've got to test it. Otherwise, you have to sell it as is and ask for less. We don't like to buy what everyone else buys. We like to get categories like blankets that no one's in and start sourcing by ourselves and having no competition. Bolo number 4. Believe it or not, those old markers that you've seen, we just learned about these this week. Vintage Sanford markers. It can be old. It can be your mother's marker that you found in one of her desk drawers, and you don't have any idea how much ink is in it. As long as it writes and as long as it's still smelly, it's a good marker, and it will sell for $10 to $12 to $13 plus shipping. I don't know why. So here's what you do. Estate sales. I don't know if you've ever been in an estate sale. I don't think Ryan had ever been in one when I first told him about it. Maybe he hasn't yet. So estate sales are really cool, and they're really depressing. It depends on your attitude. If you're a cool reseller, it's like, yeah, but they're kind of depressing because you walk into these people's home. Usually they were elderly. They both died. The last one died, and you're literally looking through their drawers and buying things out of their house. I mean, it's a weird situation. Our members know to ignore the antique clocks that all of the resellers are fighting over, and we go straight to the bathroom, but I'm not going to tell you about that bolo. Our members also know to go straight to the office desk drawer and look for Sanford markers, because you're going to find them. I mean, they're just going to be there. You're going to find them, pull off the cap, and if they stink, great. You're going to take them up to the person, and estate sales don't barter. They don't like to say, yeah, well, I'll take half. They don't like that sort of thing. They'll start marking things down over time, but they don't barter with people that say, would you take for this? But you take them an old red Sanford king size marker that their mother used, and you say, I kind of have a need for one of these. Would you take a quarter? They'll go, yeah, I guess. Sure, let's say a quarter. And you're going to sell it for, now, this isn't a lot of money. Now, that's a huge return, okay? 25 cents to $10 to $12 plus $4 shipping. This thing isn't going to cost you $4 to ship, okay? It's going to be $3 something, but you're going to make a little shipping if you do this. But that's a huge return. Now, it's not a huge amount of money, but these things are nothing to ship. You can put them in a little bubble mailer. You can wrap a small half piece of bubble wrap around it and just put it in a card. I don't know. These things are nothing to mail. They're not fragile. They're nothing. And they're $2.70 or $3.10 to ship, or something, first class 1 ounce, maybe 2 ounces. They're nothing. So you find these all day and list them and sell them like crazy. So that's a bolo that you didn't know about. No one knows about. Resellers don't know about this. And you're going to get all that you want at a garage sale for a quarter or a dime. Just make a incredible offer and they're going to be shocked that you even want the thing. So got to learn this stuff. Bolo number 5, work boots. The great thing about work boots is they don't have to be in the cleanest of shape. The cleaner, the better. They don't have to be clean. They don't have to be in the best of shape. They do have to make sure that their soles are well attached to the boot. And you have to make sure that, there's no bad structural damage. And you have to make sure the laces are nice, because people don't want to buy a pair of work boots to go to work and then their laces they're all lousy and they've got to fine laces now. So if you source a pair of work boots and the laces are bad, buy a new pair of laces. That's my biggest suggestion there. I don't know how much they are, $1 or I don't know. Go to Walmart, buy 5 just so you'll have them. These standard types of lace-up boots. Now, this was a pair I literally sold. I sold them for about $40. It had a big crack here, but it was not all the way through. It was not a structural crack. It was the kind of suede-like outer. These are Timberland boots, which is a great brand. People want them. The suede was cracked. It's not suede, but this leather was cracked, but it did not go through to the toe or anything. And this other had beginnings of that same thing. And my buyer paid me $40 plus shipping, no problem. And these are boots that I got along with a complete bag of golf clubs, a golf club bag that you push with wheels full of ladies' golf clubs. And these were old golf clubs. They needed to be cleaned up. I didn't clean them, actually. And these boots needed to be cleaned up. I did clean them a little bit. And I sold the boots for about $40 plus shipping, and I sold the golf clubs on Facebook Marketplace for $80. The boots and the golf bag of ladies' golf clubs, 12, 15 golf clubs, some woods, all the irons, 1 putter, they were on the side of the road in our neighborhood with a sign that said, "Free, take these."
So you did.
I don't know what that return is. It's a big return. $80 for the golf clubs. She met me. She was thrilled. $40, and I shipped these boots. Okay. You can't stop on this. In your neighborhood, if you see a sign that says free and there's a big box in front, if you're an FBA seller, you keep on driving. I mean, let's face it, you keep on driving. But if you learn the bolos and you're a treasure hunting profits person, no, I need to stop and look at these. I'm going to do Q&A here, but I want to give you some promises. And just in case you didn't see the free webinar we gave before we started Treasure Hunting Profits, I want to repeat these promises I made back then. And they're pretty strong promises. I told everybody these promises sound like sales hype, and I challenge any of you to join our group if you have any interest, or if you have an employee or a family member that might really want to make a lot of money and they have very little to invest. Join for 1 month and find out if this is true, because I think you can ask anybody in our group, and a lot of resellers know each other. Everyone here probably has heard of other people who are on the call. And I want you to ask anyone in the group, if you join for a month, how true is all of this? And I think they will say, he didn't really exaggerate enough. This is really far better than what he makes it sound like. So my promise number 1, I'm going to read these to you because I want to get them exactly the way I had them before. You will dominate eBay for the items you sell. This means in a couple or 3 months' time, you will dominate eBay every time you sell something, you list something. Your eBay selling competitors will quickly learn that they would rather mainline Drano than compete against anything you sell. Number 2, more hype. It's going to sound like an empty promise. I assure you I can fulfill it. In the very first class that you watch, the foundational class, I give you a bolo that will blow your mind. And I will demonstrate this bolo on eBay. And I'm going to show you that you have been walking past, not tens, not hundreds, but in your lifetime, thousands and thousands of dollars, many, many times in your life. And neither you nor anyone around you had a clue these things were worth so much money. The day after you learn about this bolo, you're going to start looking for them and asking people if you can have them when you see them. Or better yet, ask if they'll take $1 for all of them. They'll think you're nuts and say, no, just get them out of my way. Okay? I will warn you, prices on this item are a little bit depressed since we've been in martial law all this time. But they'll come back. I showed Ryan this in February, before martial law, as I call it, and he was astounded at the giant prices these things brought. And you'll just not believe it. And you'll kick yourself the way Ryan did with that Pioneer receiver. You'll go, oh man, I just threw away like tons of this. Yeah, but you'll find more. Number 3, you will walk into a garage sale, a yard sale, estate sale with a little bit of cash, scan what you see, and you'll know instantly which table to go to. You won't be like other resellers. I don't care if other resellers have been there, picking it all over. Compared to you, any other reseller next to you, they're going to be slower than an obese sumo wrestler in a cactus garden. That's how slow they're going to be compared to you. Okay.
When you say scan, you're not talking about scanning with your phone. You're saying scan with your eyes at what to look for.
Thank you. You're going to walk in and go, I'm going right there right now. You're going to drive by and go, that's what I need to see right now. And you're going to run. No one's going to be there. It's going to be things no one's looking at. We're going to give you a living document with tens of thousands of bullion treasure worth of bolos that you can immediately use to find treasure. These 5, nothing compared to what you get. It's a living document because I will continually update it with new items, as we have been doing on a regular basis. You'll tear into the next thrift store you go to like a hobo eating a ham sandwich. That's how fast you're going to tear into that thrift store and leave. You're going to get your stuff and just leave. Number 5, I'll share with you those bolos in 2 formats, PDF and Evernote. It turns out that was my promise. This is the one thing I haven't delivered on because of a copyright issue with some of my notes. So you're going to have them in PDF file, and I will be glad to share them with you in Word document. And we learn how to use Evernote to source categories of items in our, not everyone does it, not everyone has to. Every time I'm in a thrift store, I've got Evernote open, and I'm going to show you why. Next to you, every reseller at Salvation Army thrift store will be left in the dust. They're going to be made to look too stupid to attend community college. I'm telling you, next to you. Number 5, I'll hold nothing back. I'll give you time and time again more treasure hunting tips than my middle school had baby showers. I'm telling you, every single tip and trap I know, and that's a wealth of knowledge. If I do say so myself, and I do, only it's not just me. Everyone in this group is just floored at what they're learning. They've never seen this stuff before. They never will, except here. And I will constantly make you videos, PDFs. I'll make you documents, and you'll see the importance of all of those over the next many months and years. I'm going to go to garage sales. I'll go to garage sales and show you what I'm doing. I'll film things when possible. I'll demonstrate thrift store finds. I'll take photos of things in thrift stores that this is the area that no one else is at, and look at what we just found. I'll show you how to find perfume. For the real men watching tonight, I'll show you how to find perfume and ladies' dress shoes that make you so much money, you won't even feel embarrassed to take them up to the counter at Goodwill and buy them. I mean, compared to you, other reseller skills, they're going to look worse than Yoko Ono's singing ability. Number 7, I will make you a listing and shipping speed demon. All of that I showed you about, but eBay takes forever to create a listing. No, it doesn't. You'll be listing, photographing, selling, and shipping your treasures faster than the Kardashians go through plastic surgeons. Number 8, finally, I will show you everything, answer every question, give you major resources, discuss super duper tips that you will adopt, hone every single skill available to the treasure hunting seeking prophets. And so you will be a fine-tuned sourcing and listing selling machine over the months. The resellers in your town, they would rather give CPR, they'd rather give CPR to Rosie O'Donnell than to see you next to them at a garage sale. Those are your 8 promises. Now for questions, Ryan.
Right. Do it. Michael's asking, what about LP records? Are they selling as long as they're in good condition?
Of course. Absolutely. As long as you ship them properly, so you don't have to give them their money back.
Navita wants to know, what or where do you source during the winter?
Yeah, we source at estate sales because people always die, whether it's winter or not. We source at thrift stores. Thrift stores are not the best places to source, but in the winter, they're better. So if you don't mind getting to them, yes, you don't have garage sales and yard sales and boot sales and all of those as much during the winter in most states, but your thrift stores actually are better places to shop in the winter because there are fewer people shopping, fewer people reselling, and there are actually fewer people donating goods to thrift stores. Now that is a problem for us, but it's also an advantage because resellers stop going to thrift stores a lot of times in the dead of winter because people just aren't donating as much, and it's not worth their time. They have to go through so much more than our people have to go through in order to find profit. So you'll find thrift store. Now, we're about to break out some online arbitrage training in our group. We haven't done that yet, to show you how to buy and resell on eBay and make a lot of money using eBay, to buy on eBay and sell on eBay, and also Mercari and Facebook Marketplace, and a new thing that a lot of people aren't used to called OfferUp. That's becoming a pretty big sourcing facility for some of us. And the Nextdoor app. A lot of our members are getting free items on their Nextdoor app by telling their neighbors what they're looking for.
Guys, before we go any further in the questions, I want to just give you the opportunity to jump in. Just go to treasurehuntingprofits.com. You'll see more information there. I mean, some of the cool things about the group, you can totally get your money's worth just from the BOLO list. So he gave away 5 tonight. There's probably 55 easily on that document. Probably more if you included all the different little subcategories of items underneath. You know, like there's talks about boots, and there's all different kinds of boots. If you add all those up, there's a ton in there. So that's one of the cool things about the group. So when you go into a estate sale or garage sale, you'll know exactly what to look for. You will have those things in your mind. We have a list that you can actually print out and make it smaller so you can keep it with you to reference when you're going to these places. So your eye just goes right to those things. And he's right. These are things that if you aren't in this group, you wouldn't even know that they're worth anything or that they could be sold. And that one in particular is just crazy because you probably have them in your garage. Your parents probably have them. Your grandparents definitely have them in their garage. And most people would think that they're junk, but they're things you can sell. But that group, guys, it's $47 a month. You can cancel anytime. I don't think you will once you get in because the value is through the roof. And Greg's right. He just goes way, way, way above and beyond and answering questions. Every single step of the process he's covered, from setting up your account to how to list items. If you're just starting on eBay, you'll get something out of it. If you've been selling on eBay for 20 years, you're going to get a lot out of it too. There's plenty of stuff in there. Awesome group, awesome community, tons of support, tons of new content coming out all the time. And so $47 a month, just go to treasurehuntingprofits.com, give it a shot. Would love to have you in there. And let me post it again here for those of you that want to join us. Okay, so more questions. Norma, struggling with the white background. I know you cover that extensively in the course, but any quick tips for this webinar for Norma on getting things on a white background?
Yeah. Use foam board. Go to Michael's or Hobby Lobby and buy 2 foam boards, and they will be about the size of poster board. Poster board's not good because it gets messed up too fast. Foam board is thicker, about 1/8 of an inch thick, and doesn't bend and break as easily. And you can clean it a little bit easier than poster board. And the problem is, even with white and white backgrounds, the problem most people have is their lighting their item and the background. And anytime you use the same light to light them, or if you don't use any lights, if you just use the light above your, on your ceiling, you will get a gray background, and that gray background will not be white, even if it's literally white behind the item, because the light will light the item first, and that will be brighter than the light that's hitting the white background, the white foam board. So even though to our eye it looks like they're both well lit, they won't be. anything closer is going to be better lit, and you'll get a gray background. Really, the only way to stop that is to get a light or two to light just the background of your item, and then a light in front. Well, that's expensive. That's more expensive. It's not expensive, but it's more. We talk about all these options. The other option is to buy a light box, which is a big photography box. There are several good ones and one horrible one. And believe me, real fast in the class, you're going to know which one is the horrible one, and you're not going to buy it. I'm not going to mention who sells it and whose name is on it, but I will say they're related to FBA. That's the one you do not want. So other than that, light boxes are good. They're not great. They still offer a gray background. So if you've done all that you can to get a white background and you can't quite get it, you can inside eBay's own listing tool, and we always list on a computer or a tablet. We never list on our phone, with rare exception. So because the options that you take advantage of on your computer are not available on the phone. So on the computer are photo editing tools that will very easily turn that gray background into a white background. There's a problem, I mean, a weird thing though. If you take photographs with the eBay app, it actually has a way to white out just about any background of any item. So a lot of our members are using their phone eBay app to take photos of everything as if they're getting ready to list, and then they'll send those photos to their computer, and then they have the white background, and then they use the computer to actually list their item. A lot of that sounds like a lot of work. Keep in mind, you only need one photo to have the white background. That's the first photo. That's the one that you use as your primary photo. All the others can and should just be regular photos, so that people know they really do have this. This really is owned by the individual. It's really not just some big corporate thing that we might get lost in the shuffle. eBay is still a community. It has a community feel. So only that first picture has to have the white background.
Okay. Jeff says he doesn't like the eBay listing process, so can you make that a joy for me? So Jeff, you live in Tulsa with Greg. You might be able to just drop everything off to his house and he'll do it for you. Is that right?
Oh yeah, because I don't have anything else to do but list Jeff's stuff. No, yeah, Jeff, our members don't mind listing on eBay. They don't. They get so angry that they just don't have more time to list, even though it doesn't take them very long, because they've just got the death piles over here in the corner. So listing is nothing. It's nothing. It's not going to be your problem. And well, I mean, it will be in that you just can't list everything you source. I think most people on this call are worried. My problem is going to be finding something to sell. And our members found out fast that is not the problem. We make it easy to find things to sell. That 2,000% returns, no biggie. But the hard thing is just getting organized in order to take the right photos and list them. That's the hard part.
Okay. Michael wants to know, what about the dreaded Vero list?
Yeah.
What happens if we list those kinds of items?
Yeah, we had a member today, I think the first one, who got her listing removed because it was a Vero.
Well, first of all, for people that don't have a clue what that means, what's Vero?
Right. Vero is eBay's gating process, and there are certain items you cannot sell if they're listed in their Vero listing. And we have a video all about Vero, V-E-R-O, verified owner something, and it's just copyright owners who don't want you to sell some things. Now, it's not, I say it's like the gating process only because that's a fast way to tell you what it is. People go their whole life selling on eBay and never have a Vero violation. You can sell Nike shoes, Adidas, you can sell just about anything. It's the really weird things that trigger a Vero listing problem. And what eBay does is they will send you an email and they'll say, we removed your listing and we refunded all of your fees, and don't list this again because the listing owner doesn't want you to. You go, okay, eBay doesn't threaten you with account closure or anything. You just don't want to ever do it again. And it will be a strange thing. The last one I had was like 2009, and I was selling a textbook, a teacher's edition of a textbook. And it's not a specific textbook, but eBay in their Vero program used to not allow teacher edition textbooks to be sold on eBay because students would buy them and get the answers. But eBay learned real fast. A lot of home educators buy books from eBay in order to teach their own kids. And so eBay has some policies now that allow you to buy teacher textbooks that are not in the Vero program as stringently, but you're going to find it's weird little knockoff stuff like that, not Nike shoes like on you know who.
Okay. Karen has a question about just this whole thing about being a business model. So, but we can discuss this. Seems like this is a profitable side hustle rather than a business model, since it's not really scalable and you can't stop sourcing. Is that accurate to say?
Yeah. Can you stop sourcing on any business model? If you're wholesale, can you stop sourcing? You
Nope.
can't. Wholesale is bad about tanking. Wholesale is bad about people coming in. Wholesale is bad about China coming in with the same item. So every model has to keep being sourced. And so our problem is people fear this one because it's not scalable, but it is scalable. I tell you exactly what to buy and where to buy it. And our members have huge death piles instead of they don't know what to sell. They don't have anything to sell. So I would say one person who does this by herself and does the buying, the shipping, the listing, the photographing, the whole thing can easily make $2,000 a week. But if you want to scale it up over that, and that's not a lot, I mean, that's 100 grand a year. But if you want to scale over that, you're going to need some help because one person can't do it all. But one person can't do really much more than 100 grand on FBA by herself or himself either. So I've never told my group that $2,000 a week number. I think it's a very realistic number for individual sellers and listers. And if you have any family help whatsoever, if you've got teenage kids or your home educator or whatever, or your spouse is in it with you, you can easily go over that 2,000. And keep in mind our returns. You're spending 100 to make that 2,000. Okay, you're spending 200 to make that 2,000. You're spending 80 to make that 2,000. So we're talking you keep most of your money in this business model.
A good question from Tracy. How much time should we allocate for the training?
Yeah, continually from now on. The training will not stop. We have only.
We could talk about the core 6 lessons that we went through. Those were like
Yes.
hour to 2 hour long each. But Tracy, you just take it one step at a time. I would go through those. There's actually a class before that, even you would go through that. And, but there's so much video content in there now that it can be overwhelming. So you're not going to go in and try to do all of it because it may not all be applicable to you. But definitely those 6 core webinars that we did, and that's probably 8 to 9 hours of training. But you do that over a period of time. I mean, you don't have to like, oh, I got to sit down and watch all these right now before I can take action.
Right. And the very first post that's kind of an announcement for the group, it tells you, watch these first 6, actually 7 classes, and then fill in with some of the mini webinars that we tell you about. So we kind of give you a helping hand for what you do first. For the first 12 hours of training, you're guided by the hand. And after that, you kind of can look through all of the training and find what you need next. And it has a great search feature. You can search on our videos, our classes, and you can also search on topics, on videos that we've done on training, and you can find just about anything. We have members that constantly say, Greg, where was that video on how to, on Vero? And so what I do is I just type Vero training and it pops right up and I send them that link. They haven't really learned that they can do that too. So really anything that you need an answer to, you just type in the group's search field and it'll pop right up. But yeah, the foundational training in the very first post that you will see if you log into the group will tell you exactly what to do at the start.
What percentage of return of goods can we expect from eBay?
Far less than Amazon. Far less. Once you get going, when you first start, you might get higher than normal because you're doing a few things wrong. We found that with some of our members, but in general, you're looking at 1 to 2% return rate at the most.
Mm-hmm. Patricia wants to know, what are eBay's fees?
Yeah, that's the best thing about eBay. Yesterday, my eBay fees were 15% plus PayPal, and that got dropped. Well, let me start off. A few years ago, they were 15%. eBay's, Amazon's fees are generally 30, generally, right? And then 33, something like that. You kind of make that assumption. With eBay, it's half that, 15%. So you can sell the same items on eBay that you sell on FBA, but you charge less for eBay because you make the same amount of money because your fees are cut in half. So the most you will pay on eBay will be 15% plus a 2 point something percent PayPal fee. But eBay is doing away with PayPal. They have split their ties, and eBay is very quickly now moving its accounts from PayPal managed payments to eBay managed payments. So as soon as that happens, and for me, it happened on September 9th, which is the day we're recording this. This morning, I got my email that said, no more PayPal. Your fees just dropped 2.9% because you'll never be charged a PayPal fee again. And I'm a top rated seller, and you will be too soon. That gives you another 10% discount. So you're going to find that your eBay fees run about 12.5 to 13% after your account gets energized in about 4 months. 12, 13%.
Let's see, here's one I can actually answer. So Tracy's at, how do you figure out a price to ask for an item you find? How do you search on eBay? Sorry, I'm quite ignorant about eBay. Hey, it's okay. You'll learn a lot in the group, Tracy, if you decide to jump in. But essentially, it's the same thing. If you were going to sell your house, you look at what other houses have sold for in your area, and it's called comps, comparables. You're just looking at with my same square footage, the same number of rooms, same neighborhood, all of that, they sold for about this. So we're going to list it at around that same price. And so you have the same thing on eBay. Essentially, you can search by completed listings that actually sold. I could take this glass and put it on eBay for $500. Of course, nobody's going to buy it because there's nothing special about this glass. But if I was really wanted to sell this, I would look at other types of glasses. I mean, this is not even a name brand or anything. So you look at what other people have sold. You type in the item that you have. For example, those work boots, you would type in Timberland work boots. You would look through and like, ooh, these look like the ones that I have here on my desk. And those sold for $42. So I know that I can probably get around $42, but that person has a horrible listing. So I'm probably going to ask for $50 because I think I can sell it for $50 because I'm going to have a better listing, better description based on what Greg's taught me. So Greg, what else would you say about that?
Our members, after they've energized their accounts, and you'll learn what we mean by that, after 2.5 to 3 months, our members almost always list higher than most comparables that they find. Ryan, I assume you've been looking at what we post, but
oh yeah,
we're making people experts at what to list for. What if there's something that you actually are selling that has never sold on eBay before? How in the world would you? That's easy. What if they've sold 1,000 in the last week? Is it worth selling? That's easy. We make you a comp demon. You will know exactly what to price your item at, and it will almost always be higher than the competition, and it will almost always sell faster than the ones that you look at.
Okay. Let's see here. Tracy's asking, is there a way to tie listings currently on Amazon to eBay listings? I have the item in FBA, but would be able to so cross listing from Amazon to eBay.
Yep. There are services that do that. I don't like them, but there are services that do that, and it works fine. They work fine.
Okay. With this training, as Chris is asking, what is the average sale rate? Do things sell fast, or you hold them for a while?
Yeah, well, we talk about that, and it's kind of up to individuals, and we have a whole training thing on this. Do you want the fast nickel or the slow dime? And when you're first doing what we call energizing your account, and every member of our group knows what that means now. I really drilled it into their heads. There are certain steps you must do to make your account as powerful as it can be, more powerful than anyone competing against you by far. And it takes 2.5 or 3 months. When you're first starting off, you need some sales history. So you want to look at comparables, comps, Ryan just told you, and in that range, let's say something has sold recently like yours for $25 to $50. You want to price yours kind of in the mid range, like maybe even mid low, like $30, $32. But as your account starts energizing, you'll learn what that means and really catching fire where you can't list things fast enough because they keep selling. At that point, you're going to start raising your prices to much higher in the range, and you'll still sell faster than you want a lot of times.
For sure. Simone says, not sure if you answered yet, but how many hours of training is it? So there's so much more now than when we started. Obviously, we had those 6 initial webinars, and those were an hour and a half or so each. Mm-hmm. So that's 9 hours for the core content. And then Greg's always posted new things. Greg, do you have, any idea of what you would say to that?
Yeah, I want to find out how much content is there. I keep meaning to try to figure it out, but I don't know, Ryan, 200 hours. I don't know. I mean, it's like there's another hour and a half posted every day and a half or so. I mean, it's incredible. And by the way, all of you who aren't members, that might frighten you a little bit, thinking I'll never catch up. Yeah, you will. You don't want all this stuff. Our members don't watch everything. You want to watch what applies to you. And we break things up into units and title everything very well and have great search engine finds, and you'll be able to find what you need. So you do those foundational classes that Ryan's telling you about, class 0 through number 6, which really is 7, but yeah. And then you'll fill in some gaps. And I tell you in those classes, like in class 3, I'll say, be sure and watch these mini webinars that we did. And I'll tell you which ones those are, because each class doesn't have time to get into all the details. And by the time you finish class number 6, which is the 7th class, you will have probably watched 30 videos altogether.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Is there a huge disadvantage to being a newbie seller? And should I use an old eBay account and start off with a brand new created one?
Wow. I get that question far more than I ever expected. And I love that question. That means you've got some eBay history way back when you thought you should, back when you were supposed to do everything in auctions. Trying to think of the term, but press release, don't do auctions anymore. With rare exceptions, do buy it now. But you want to use your old account because you've got all that feedback, and that will just carry forward. And you won't have to build feedback to build buyer trust with a new account. Don't do that. Use your old account. I'm going to warn you, eBay is going to limit that old account for a while because someone could have stolen your password. It's a dormant account. You haven't used it forever. I don't care how busy you were in that account or not very busy. eBay might let you sell $2,500 a month in that account for 2 months. And then they'll start raising your limits. And after a while, they'll get rid of your limits.
Dwayne wants to know, do you have to worry about sales tax on eBay?
Well, no. eBay takes care of sales tax, and eBay pays sales tax, kind of like Amazon does. The problem is for my state, and I only know Oklahoma, and that is I have to tell the state of Oklahoma how much sales that I had, and I have to tell the state of Oklahoma how many sales I had, not only all over, but also in my state. So I have to find out how much in Oklahoma did I sell in August, this is September, and how much total sales did I sell in August. And then I have to put inside, instead of sending them sales tax, I have to say eBay and Amazon paid my sales tax. And they're perfectly happy with that. And I don't have to pay anything, but I've got to fill out that stupid report every month. And I suspect it's that way with most or all states.
Dennis wants to know, can I open up a new eBay account if I have one that is restricted now?
Yes, and your new one will be restricted. I would like to see a new restricted account be used more and kind of get those restrictions lifted. The more you use it and work it, the faster they'll lift their restrictions. Mm-hmm. But if you need a second account, of course.
Does Greg remember when eBay came out with their own magazine?
Yeah, I do. I do. I've been selling on eBay since 1999. I've been through.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ellen says, my husband and I are part of the first group, and everything Ryan and Greg are saying is absolutely true. You will make your money back in the first month. This group is awesome.
Wow.
Well, she posted it in all panels, so nobody else can see that but you and I, but I read it out there. Ellen, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Yeah, so guys, we'd love to have you give us a shot. Treasurehuntingprofits.com. Tracy, how many are in the group currently? I think like 140, something like that. It's right now it's a very small group.
But powerful.
Yeah, and there's nothing. I mean, either way, it's fine. I think just as we grow, it just means we will have. What's going to be fun about this is it's going to mean that, and we're already seeing it. It's not always going to have to be about Greg. For the first few months, it's been the Greg show because he's been the main expert. We have other people that are coming up and learning his processes and are answering questions too, and it just makes it easier on him for sure because he's not having to answer every single question. But just the culture of the group. So, but right now it's small, Tracy, and I think that's an advantage actually. So, okay, guys, any other questions you have? A replay will be posted. I'll get it up to everybody that is watching and also that missed this. We'll get it out to you. That'll go out tomorrow through Zoom. Greg, anything else you want to say?
Well, I want to apologize for my glitch. That's never happened on any webinar
right.
ever given. And it took forever for my computer to reboot. I will always have a backup laptop ready to go from now
on. You're good.
But I don't know if you can blip that out or not.
Oh, totally.
Okay, good.
We'll take care of that.
And
but actually, the best content was when you were gone. Those 10 minutes. Yeah.
Well, then I want to see that. So leave
it. No, it was not.
If you're talking about me, I need to know what you're saying. So, no, thank you everybody for being here tonight. It's been a lot of fun. You'll be blown away. I mean, I know it just sounds like hype. You'll be blown away by what you can do in 3 months.
Totally agree. Well, Greg, thanks so much, my friend. Appreciate you doing this. And guys, we'll see you in the group. Have a great night.
Bye-bye.